Once again, we're going to have a glimpse at just how active and how accurate these fighters are. And as you can see, Whitaker generally throws about twice as many punches as Pineda. And of course, most of those are jabs. We recall when Pineda won the title, it was just one punch that won it for him.
Rules, Harold.
Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker, and Rafael Pineda will box tonight using the rules of the International Boxing Federation. 3 judges will score the fight on a 10-point must system. There's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And in case of a cut caused by an accidental butt, we go to the scorecards after 6 rounds have been completed. Before that, it's a technical draw.
Fabulous, Harold. Let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Main Events Monitor Productions, Cedric Kushner Productions, and the undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, present Championship Boxing. This bout is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, President Robert W. Lee, Supervisor at ringside Alvin Goodman, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, whose officials shall remain the same, except for the judges assigned at ringside. They will be scoring the bout on a 10-point must system. The judges assigned are Hector Hernandez, Jerry Roth, and Frank J. Cairo. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, working for the 49th time in a world title bout, referee Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again from the Mirage here in Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with white trim, weighing an even 140 pounds. This 1984 Olympic gold medal champion is now 29-1 as a professional with 14 KOs. From Norfolk, Virginia, he's the #1 IBF contender in this division. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, the former undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with multicolored trim, weighing in at an even 139 pounds. His professional record, 28-1, 26 of those 28 victories by KO. Tonight, he makes the first defense of his title he won earlier this year, con Barranquilla, Colombia, the IBF Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Rafael Pineda.
Okay, let's get these trunks down a little bit, just a little bit. Bajarte un poquito más. Okay, come here. All right, gentlemen, I give you the rules in the dressing room. When the good, clean fight, protect yourself at all times. Hold a second. Ya yo te di a ti las reglas. Wait, okay. Ya yo te di a las reglas en el camerino. Dame una pelea limpia y cuidado con los pies.
His feet checked out, understand? No stepping on the toes. No back. No problem, okay? Fine, let's go.
We're going to get one of 2 things out of this fight, gentlemen. Either Sweet Pea is going to come out of this fight bigger and better than ever, or we're going to have a new dynamic personality in the ring.
And you heard Lou Duva urging referee Joe Cortez to watch carefully to see that Pineda, the conventional fighter, right-hander, does not step on the right foot, the lead foot of Pernell Whitaker, the southpaw. Various fighters have tried to do it against Pernell. Nobody has been effective so far. There's a long right hand missed by Pineda. He has just about equal power in the right and the left.
The first 2 minutes of a fight, very important to Whitaker. He takes his notes because he never studies films.
That's right. He claims that he didn't watch Pineda's effort against Mayweather at all, and Pineda already stepped once on Whitaker's foot.
He believes he can take notes just from the first round.
To the body and follows up with a right to the head. So far it is Whitaker who is the aggressor. And Pineda gets off to his customary slow start. Pineda is not a busy fighter. He is looking to land power shots. He throws about 40 punches around fewer than Pernell Whitaker if they are both fighting their fight.
Puts his right hand on the side of his jaw to wade off straight left hand. It could be difficult if you're a hard puncher, but if you're not, that can help him.
And you see something Whitaker will want to do all night long. Jab, step to the right. Jab, step to the right. Pineda has trouble against fighters who are able to move laterally to the right. Mayweather did it for 7 rounds. When he stopped, Pineda clocked it.
Whitaker is not going to be satisfied any longer with stepping to the side and jabbing. I think he's a big puncher now. He's got something to prove.
Long right hand just missed for Pineda. He lands the left to the body. Pernell comes back with some body damage of his own. Pineda lands one of those looping shots. Pernell will respect him just a little more. Because in the parlance of the sport, and it's a kind of ineffable thing, hard to figure out where it comes from, is there's the low blow warning against Pineda. Rafael Pineda has, George, what they call heavy hands.
And that's right. Whitaker hit him right back below the belt. He's a vicious guy.
Oh, Pete has a mean streak, doesn't he?
He does. The thing when you're fighting a southpaw, you should never change anything. Make him change something.
How?
Just by doing what you're supposed to do, what you've been practicing for years. Jab, right hand hook.
Whitaker to the body. Pineda trying to get underneath with a body shot himself. It was a typical Pernell-Whitaker first round, as George Foreman accurately called it, study hall for Sweet Pea. And now let's lead to Carlos Palomino, our interpreter in Pineda's corner.
Throw punches. Move your head side to side, step in.
Yo lo voy a levantar a él de abajo. No te levantas hasta que no te levantes.
20 seconds.
It breathes through it just like this. This guy ain't gonna get no better. You understand? That's the long and the short of what you saw. He ain't gonna get no better. So just keep doing what you're doing. Don't change it. Don't change it.
All right, let's see what happens here. As both fighters lead, you see a picture is worth everything. You can't say that it was deliberate. It was in the course of the fight. Both fighters are leading with their front foot. It's bound to happen.
It happens all the time if you're really concentrating on the upper things. You just step on a guy's feet, never intentional.
Well, mostly when a southpaw fights against a conventional fighter, as is the case here. And their front feet are always competing for space, and the key to technique, isn't it, George, is to keep your foot outside of your opponent's foot.
And that's when you're trying, but when you start concentrating that much fighting a southpaw, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
So you'd rather just forget about that and let it go.
Just let it go. If you step on his feet, step on his hand, you just keep moving forward.
That was a very low blow. Whitaker was not warned for it.
And interestingly, the IBF, which is sanctioning this championship bout, has brought in referee Joe Cortez from New Jersey. He is not normally a Nevada referee. Pineda off to his typical start in round one, threw only 35 punches. His corner asks him to punch more. They will probably be asking him that 10 years from now if he's still in the sport.
You bring in a New Jersey referee, it helps Whitaker because Duva is not too liking the Las Vegas referees after what happened to Mildred Taylor.
He is from New Jersey.
Oops, I didn't know that.
A round two chess match between Whitaker and Pineda. The puncher looking for an opportunity. The boxer already trying to build up a points lead.
Whitaker's trying his best to devastate and frustrate this guy by spinning him a lot. I don't know if he understands that this is a puncher and it just doesn't discourage quick.
Well, but as you know, George, Pernell is a man of 1,000 tricks. He may try to spin him this round. He may try to give him angles in the next round.
That's correct.
He may step in and go straight at him for a little while in the following round. He'll do a lot of different things to try to get inside your head.
Well schooled. You can believe his corner is scratching their head. They don't like that.
And I think he's giving Pineda more opportunities than he ought to. Pineda hasn't landed anything so far. But he got in a left there, and Pernell is making himself a little more available than most people would want to against a Rafael Pineda.
Trying to make this guy respect him. Sure, you're bigger, but respect me. Whitaker's leading with left hands to make him respect him.
Round 2 comes to a close.
Boxing beautiful out there. Beautiful this boxing.
Too far to take. You need some kind of reason. Just what you do. Don't change it. Same idea. That's pretty tangible. Exactly what you do. About 4 or 5 rounds, you got this guy doing that looks like disgusting.
Okay. You don't want that?
Perfect job.
How about that?
Perfect job. Yeah. Enough. Get on the inside.
It's third, Pete.
Other than like you was just there.
Ronnie, Ronnie. Pete, you're starting to bust up this guy's left eye. You see with that jab. Okay, baby, let's go. Good jab.
We heard Lou Duva talking about the eye, the left eye of the champion, and you can see it looks a little bloodshot.
Pineda's got to be careful because you can lose your title without being beaten. And that's what's happening to him. Points are getting away from him.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of rounds how Harold Letterman saw the first 2 rounds, but as I mentioned, halfway through round 2, the matchup between boxer and puncher is quite clear here. The left eye, incidentally, is the one that was damaged by Mark Breland in Pineda's 1 loss. The orbital bone, the socket in effect, was broken. It took months to heal, and it still swells rather easily. That's what seems to be happening there now. And of course, Lou Duva and George Benton leave nothing to chance. They want to know everything about the opposition so that they can work from every conceivable angle during the fight.
Pernell Whitaker is the guy who listens less than any other in camp to his corner. Doesn't seem to pay much attention. He's got such belief in his own skill.
He does what he wants to do in there.
That can be the downfall of a good fighter.
Watch your head inside.
As you look at the power punch of Pineda trying to measure Pernell, you reflect that Whitaker has only been knocked down twice in his career. Early on by a fighter named Rafael Williams, and then by Roger Mayweather, moments after Whitaker, who was annihilating Mayweather on the scorecards, had teased him by pulling down his shorts in a fight in Norfolk, Virginia. That infuriated Roger, who stepped forth with one of the great straight right hands of all time and put Pernell right on the seat of his pants.
Pineda is waiting now for Whitaker to slow down and lean on him just a little bit more.
Getting a little bit busier in this round than has been the case through his recent history.
And when you fight the faster fighters, you're not supposed to size them up. You just got to go on and throw your punches.
Figuring that the opportunities are going to come on the fly as those fighters release against you.
Right, you throw combinations so you can get yourself right back into your protective position and not care whether you missed or not.
Good jab by Pineda. Pernell shies away from the right, and then Whitaker lands a straight left. Pernell has been using the straight left to good effect, along with the jab. Pineda going more and more to the body. Joe Cortez telling him to keep them up.
Whitaker unhappy as he goes back to the corner. He got nailed a few times in that round.
Póngale entusiasmo, compadre, que ese no te puede ganar a vos.
Go a little harder on him. More energy.
Mueva nomás. Cuando él viene, mueve la cintura. Cuando él mueva, viene.
Move your head side to side.
¿Quién es el campeón?
Y después, tire 1, 2, 3. Cuando está cerca.
Throw punches, 1, 2, 3. Combinations.
Bueno, campeón, vamos a defender ese título, loco.
You gotta defend this title.
No,
¿Qué te pasa? Tú tienes...
aflójese, suéltese.
Tira, loco, tira, tira.
Try to do nothing else. Just what you're doing in this fight.
Feet, when you go down, you can go to those ribs a little bit. You're dropping down beautiful, right? Take that step over and go right to those ribs, right? Take this guy here. Your jab is working beautiful. That's the way to box out there. He's fighting your fight.
Just keep him looking for you.
After Pineda fought Whitaker and took his title, in fact, during the fight, he complained to his corner that he could feel Pineda's power. I wonder if Whitaker...
You mean Mayweather?
Mayweather,
Yeah.
yes. And I wonder if Whitaker can feel the power. He took a few little sharp punches unblinkingly in that round, in the last round.
And when we talk about heavy hands like Pineda has, to me, the ultimate example is George Foreman, who, as I pointed out in your past, George, have knocked fighters out with glancing blows. It means that a punch that may not look to the average viewer like it means anything really does mean something.
It means a whole lot, especially if you're heavy-handed. All in the hands sometimes.
Words to both fighters about low blows.
Right. The referee is going to have to really be on top of this. This can turn into a dirty fight. Pineda is starting to get range with his left jab now, only now.
Pineda is getting busier, and Pernell is slowing down. Doesn't mean that Pernell has stopped landing. If anything, some of his combinations with the power punches are more effective. But he isn't nearly as busy and is not bedazzling Pineda as he did in rounds 1 and 2. There's a good left hand. Looks like Pernell is looking to get a little bit more effective with power punches himself.
And he has the power to be effective with, too. But he's fighting a guy who has an equal amount of power. So you don't mix up with punches. Don't punch with punches. Don't throw left hook with left hookers.
Well, this goes back to the question I asked you before the fight. He goes in with a heavy puncher. Wouldn't he like somewhere in his heart to prove that he can out-punch a puncher?
And that's what he's trying to do tonight. He's trying to prove something. Why? I don't know.
Because he's tired of reading, because he's tired of reading that he's too good.
I don't think anybody ever gets tired of reading that he's too good.
I'd like to have some of that.
Two right hands by Pineda, who was holding Pernell behind the head when he hit him. Joe Cortez immediately warns him. Let's see if he'll take a point. Nope.
I think Cortez told him next time you get penalized.
Pernell Whitaker is going to retaliate. He's going to do the same thing or something worse.
You're boxing beautiful, baby.
Look at that. You're doing it to death. Just keep it going.
Right.
Jab is working perfect. Keeps poking him in the belly with that long left hand, right? Keep poking him in the belly with that long left hand.
Harold Letterman, how do you score the fight so far?
Larry, 4-0, 40-36. Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker. Larry, I think Pernell's doing a number on him right now. He's just too busy, laying that right jab and a straight left hand. Jim, I got to say something about Joe Cortez. He does live in Nevada now. He's moving from Jersey to Nevada. He is a Nevada resident and absolutely one of the finest referees in the world today. He doesn't miss a thing, and he's doing a great job.
But he's here under the aegis of the IBF.
Yes, he's appointed by the IBF, but he is a Nevada resident. Nevada doesn't like to give away the referee, Jim. The referee gets more money, and it's a high-profile position. They normally don't give up the referee. They usually use their own guy. They bring in 2 judges.
So is he approved by the Nevada Athletic Commission
yes,
now?
Yes, the Nevada Athletic Commission has to approve the referee. Even if the IBF appoints him, Nevada has to approve it.
Thank you, Harold.
Pineda has landed a good lead right hand a little early on, and it hurts you as the minutes tick on.
Whitaker lands a straight left. Pineda is getting closer and closer with that right. Lands it to the shoulder.
Whitaker, in my book, should box this guy and win the title.
I think he's doing a slow burn. I think Pernell is a little bit angry about the low blows, the holding behind the head, the reputation Pineda has for being a heavy puncher, and he wants to do some damage against him to get some inner satisfaction.
I also think that Whitaker feels he can handle Pineda's punch. He's been hit a couple of times in the last few rounds. It hasn't hurt him, and so I think he's gained a little confidence, and that's why he's coming at him.
You think that, but then all of a sudden those big power hands, they start to take hold to your knees, and it just doesn't feel good. Your power starts to evaporate.
Yeah, Pernell ducks away from that right hand and looks from underneath his shoulder as if to say, I'm not sure I wanted to give you that chance.
Whitaker has turned this fight into the fight Pineda would like. Great right hand by Pineda.
But if Whitaker fights this way and goes on to win the fight, then as Larry suggested would be the case, he comes out bigger and better than ever.
Bigger and better.
Oh, good solid left hand by Pernell. And the first fighter to be wobbled is not Whitaker, but Pineda. And there's the right hand by Pineda, and Whitaker steps back.
He's the second guy to be wobbled.
They are trading punches now. Whitaker with the left uppercut right on the button. Pineda got that heavy right hand in, and Pernell has felt the full fury now.
The thing to worry is Pineda's left eye is giving him a little bit of problem. When you're fighting a quick guy like that, you need every eyesight you can get, every bit of eyesight.
This is one of the most entertaining rounds of Pernell Whitaker's recent boxing career.
Much better, much better. That's the way to throw punches.
Very good.
You gotta hit him. He's afraid of you, champ. He's afraid of you. Throw punches.
I'm going to get dehydrated a couple of times. I'm going to take that water.
All right, here's Whitaker throwing that straight left hand that drives the champion backward. I think if Pernell Whitaker wanted to turn to law enforcement, he would be on the bomb diffusing squad.
Let's go, come on.
You think he's going to defuse Pineda's bombs here tonight?
Well, so far he has, but normally a puncher comes on in the second half of a fight as the boxer sometimes tires.
So far, Lou Duva and George Benton seem entirely pleased with the fight that Pernell Whitaker is fighting. But there has been a subtle, although perceptible change in the past couple of rounds, as Pernell Whitaker has stepped up maybe a couple of inches closer and traded punches much more with Rafael Pineda than has been the case in any of his recent bouts.
Pineda corner told him something was wrong, that Whitaker is afraid of him. No way.
Yeah, I think that's right, George. I don't think Pernell's a bit afraid of him.
Of anyone. Said he looked Holyfield in the face and told him early on, I'm not scared of you.
Well, you know it. I mean, Pernell is just a tough guy with a remarkable streak of self-confidence and a mean streak, too, in the there as he whipped that left hand into Pineda's face. Pineda's starting to take a page out of the George Benton book of training. Punching to the shoulders and the elbows. Trying to wear Pernell Whitaker down.
That's what happens when you're a one-punch knockout artist. You have a tendency to wait around too long and lose fights.
All right, now this will cost a point.
1 point.
There it is. Joe Cortez taking the point away from Rafael Pineda. All around the ring from all three judges, and now Pernell Whitaker gets his chance to recover.
You ready to continue? Yeah. All right.
I think Whitaker would rather not have been hit and let Pineda keep that point.
The other referee says he was hit, but it didn't hurt him down there. Believe me, down there aren't any muscles.
Yeah, how can you be hit there without it hurting? Look at the body shots by Pineda. He did not go to the body much again. Oh, what a left hand by Whitaker. I was just getting ready to say, Pineda didn't go to the body much against Roger Mayweather. He didn't get hit like that against Roger Mayweather either. Pineda was rocked back on his heels by Whitaker's left hand.
Whitaker's from that old school of, I can't give this guy any false courage. If he hurts me, I've got to pay him back.
Well, if this keeps up, Pernell is going to win a lot of new fans for his courage and his punching prowess. Another good straight left. Crowd really warming to Whitaker now. It's always been like watching a clinic before. Tonight, Whitaker wants to send Pineda to a clinic.
You get a rest, he gets a rest. You understand? Only stop when you're hurt.
Watch that.
The other guy gets a rest just like you do. Let's get out.
All right, Peter.
Like boxing your ass off. Just keep doing just what you're doing. You understand it? Okay.
Let's take a look at a low blow that does Pineda a point. And Pernell Whitaker certainly got the point, and here he retaliates with a straight left high on the brow.
All right, seconds out.
We're getting a glimpse of just how tough Pernell Whitaker is against a real strong champion.
And he's tough.
There's some steel in that reed.
Through round 6, halfway through the scheduled 12. Whitaker has thrown 405 punches, according to PunchStat. Landed 166 of them. That's a 41% connect rate. High and good for Pernell Whitaker. Pineda, 300 punches. Busy for him. 50 punches around. Only landed 97 of them for 32%, but with his power, he'll settle for that. Both fighters have plenty to be happy about so far, but it is Whitaker who is leading. Pineda in the classic puncher's position of having to try to come from behind in the second half of the bout to retain his championship.
I don't think Pineda was worried about losing that point, Jim and George, because he knows he's not going to win this fight on points anyway. He's going to have to stop Whitaker.
Remember, he lost the first 7 rounds on our cards to Roger Mayweather before he knocked Mayweather out.
Hold the head down. Hold it down, kid.
Oh, left hands and right hands from Whitaker, and he is really beginning to establish some punching power inside.
Yeah, but it could cost him because it's only 7 rounds. That punching power that you're throwing away now, you may want it a little later on just for stamina.
Particularly when a fighter has a tendency, as Whitaker does sometimes, George, to admire his work.
That's right. He starts looking, and the next thing you know, his corner is going crazy.
As they trade punches in the middle of the ring. Whitaker takes 2 or 3 to the body while doling out 3 or 4 to the head of Pineda.
Pineda better realize that Whitaker's had some knockouts in his career also. One wrong move and he can be getting off the canvas.
Has not had a knockout at 140 pounds, this weight class, in a significant bout. He fought a warm-up down in Mexico City, but that was really almost just for show. Pernell weighed 148 pounds, they say, in that bout down in Mexico City. Driving Whitaker into the ropes with right hands. Pernell moving to his left now.
He drops his hands and starts to get cute with Pineda. Pineda is no cutie. He understands his chances one good shot.
Faced with the strongest fighter he's ever fought, Whitaker has raised the level of his already very high game.
For your family, do it for your family. Come on. They're not going to give you a decision. You got to knock him out. The business is to land punches. He's right in front of you. You got to throw punches. You know, he's not running from you. He's right in front of you.
He's slowing down now. I need him to step up.
Get in here. Feet in here. Come on. Okay.
Now you're looking very good out there. Let's keep it going.
Okay. 5 seconds out.
There you go.
Folks, you're looking at a master craftsman who is just walking right in to the eye of a big hurricane and surviving and thriving.
Pineda's corner told him they're not going to give you that decision. Believe me, he's not doing anything to make them give it to him. He needs a knockout.
Our microphones giving you a sense of how extraordinarily heavy the body punching has now become between these 240-pounders. Right hand lands for Pineda. Whitaker fires right back.
Whitaker uses his eyes to perfection. Watches the whole body of Pineda.
You think of fighters like Muhammad Ali and Ray Leonard, who seem to see everything in the ring.
They see everything. It's a gift. The big punches, they only watch the head of the opponent. They don't pay much attention to the hands or the feet, just the head. That's all they want.
Pernell is just so gifted.
Good right hand by Pineda.
He's had a couple of them in this round. Once again, Pineda holding behind the head and hitting Whitaker. Now, in this round, the right eye of Pineda, not nearly as swollen as the left one early in the bout, has begun to swell around the outer edge. And that's the product of those straight left hands that Pernell has used so
Body shot.
Down goes Pineda.
A right hand to the body.
Does he want to get up? Yes, he does.
He quit against Breland, but that was in a bout against a 147-pounder when he was taking extraordinary amounts of punishment.
When you get hit in the body like that, it takes your breath away.
Low blow
So does that.
Round bell comes to an end.
Take a point away, for Christ's sakes!
Duva yelling at Cortez to take another point away.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
And Cortez does. One more point taken away from Pineda. Largely immaterial at this point anyway.
Exactly.
That gets you into the fight.
That wasn't intentional, I can tell you that. To me, he was going for the body. And if it happened to went down, it's because Whitaker fist elbowed him.
Well, it may not have been intentional, George, but I think he wanted to retaliate for the punch that put him down. Here you'll see a right to the ribs, and that's the one. It may have knocked the breath out of him for a moment, but he did retain his composure.
That's a punch that hurt. Right there in the rib.
And now they come back to begin round 9. And remember, we are barely a minute and 10 seconds past the point at which Whitaker was felled by a low blow, and that came shortly after Pineda was taken down by the right hand of the rib cage that you saw. So both fighters may still be feeling the effects a little bit as round 9 begins. Whitaker goes back to stand-up boxing, jabbing and moving to his right.
It's not an easy thing to take a title away from a guy.
Another low blow. And Cortez has to be very close to disqualification here. It's not going to mean much to keep taking points away. And Pernell is...
That wasn't a low blow.
So far ahead, huh?
That was not a low blow. It was thrown right at the body, and his elbows is bringing those punches over. He's trying to cross his elbows, but they're knocking forward.
Well, at least he sold Cortez on the notion that it was a low blow, George.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Good left hand by Whitaker. Pineda wobbles just a little bit. Rafael's punch is getting wilder and wilder now.
He's not giving up on that right uppercut. No matter how he misses with it, he continues to throw it.
The knockdown of Pineda, incidentally, was, he says, according to what he's told us, the first time he's ever been knocked to the canvas, professional or amateur. We have no way of confirming that because the overwhelming majority of his fights are in Barranquilla and Cartagena, Colombia. Their record keeping isn't what we might hope and dream it would be.
Whitaker is stepping maybe 3 steps backwards, inviting Pineda to come forward, and when he does, he catches him with a straight left hand.
And that time Pernell slipped on a wet spot on the canvas. And Cortez rules it a slip and calls time. And now he wants the wet spot wiped up in the corner.
The fighter spit too much in the corner, if you ask me.
I get the impression that Whitaker could catch birds with those fast hands.
And there you see the fast hands as he delivers, and steps away. Pernell giving the crowd a little touch of everything now. He had been known when escaping from punishment to whirl all the way around his opponents and tease them from behind their backs.
A lot of times your trainers will tell you, hold the head and hit him sometime.
No.
But you wouldn't do anything like that, George.
I've got to ask Coach.
Huh? All right, now just keep it going just like that. You understand? Don't change up. Keep him looking for you. Keep sticking him and stabbing him.
Pete, this guy's desperate now. Understand? He's going to try anything. You box the way you're supposed to box.
So have your hands up good now. Just keep sticking and stabbing and making him miss, right? Make him miss. When you can make him pay, you can make him pay.
Harold Letterman, give us your scorecard.
Larry, 9-0, 90-78, overwhelming for Pernell Whitaker. There's no question in my mind. Round 8 was an interesting round. Pernell gets 1 extra point for the knockdown, 1 extra point for the low blow, so that makes it a 10-7 round in the 8th. Pernell winning the fight easy. I mean, Joe Cortez is very, very close to disqualifying Rafael Pineda. He's won them, taken away 2 points, and won them numerous times.
Yeah, but it's very hard to disqualify a champion, and particularly when the punches are not deliberate.
Incidentally, the trunks do belong where the belly button is. Generally, if the trunks are where the belly button is, the referee will call it low if it's below the waistband.
Now, a lot of times, it seems like he's holding this fella, but Whitaker is moving right into that left jab of his, and it just lays on his shoulder, seemingly like he's holding it.
Seems fully recovered from the effects of the body punch that knocked him to the floor in round 8. Firing with abandon again. Pineda still relatively busy for him, as Pernell has given him more of a target than he might have expected. But in coming inside, Pernell has given himself the chance to land with a lot of solid shots. Shots of the kind he hadn't thrown as many of against fighters like Jorge Baez and Harold Brazier, and they have been relentlessly effective. Good right hand
by Pineda. Whitaker is using the old tight circle. Move backwards, but to the side to give the impression that you're moving away. You circle him, but keep him close.
As you watch Pernell Whitaker, for the moment, handling a heavy puncher like Pineda, and you have to speculate, what if he were to get a chance in this weight class against the great Julio Cesar Chavez?
Well, Chavez is not a one-punch puncher. He's just a great, relentless fighter. But obviously, if this fight continues that way, that's the fight that everybody's going to want to see. And it would be something to see, because I don't know that any man could fight the relentlessness of Chavez the way Whitaker is fighting this guy. But it sure is a fight I want to see.
It's a fight millions want to see. You only hope and pray that it can somehow take place.
Whitaker's teasing a lion and not a dog. I used to have some puppies that I would tease. Then I got a baby lion, and I realized early you cannot tease lions. They are not dogs. Because when he grabbed me, I couldn't get loose that lion.
Well, Pineda is not a puppy, but he may not be a lion either. He's somewhere in between.
Drink some water.
Alcánceme otra botella de agua. Cuando él te ataca, movila así. Cuando él te ataca, tire.
When he comes forward, you gotta throw.
Cuando él te ataca, póngase ahí, no se quede quieto, porque le pega.
You gotta throw punches all the time when he comes forward.
Huh? 2 rounds, 6 minutes, baby.
Right,
okay?
listen, don't get cute.
All right, seconds out. Come on, baby, 6 minutes.
George Benton agrees with you, George, as he says, don't get cute.
Not with this guy. He's just not your regular guy. One punch, and he's got you.
So at what point should Duva and Benton tell Pernell, all right, enough. Get on the bicycle and put it in the deep freeze?
That's when you've got to have a fighter that trusts and believes in you and knows that you're stronger.
But that's not Whitaker's way. It's not Benton's way. You know that running is not fighting, and they have done a wonderful job of getting Whitaker off the bicycle he used to be on when he was fighting with his legs as much as his fists, to be a more crowd-pleasing fighter, to stand in front of an opponent and not let the opponent hit him very much.
This is the time when you need a bicycle, though.
As you see Rafael landing those heavy right-hand shots. I mean, somewhere in the back of your mind, the specter of what happened to Meldrick Taylor against Julio Cesar Chavez has to haunt somebody in this camp.
You win the fight. You win the fight and you go home and you hug your children.
I'm sorry, this is not the Tour de France or even the Tour of Las Vegas. This is a prize fight, and I love what Whitaker is doing here tonight. I've never seen him better. And that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot. That's about as far as you can go in this sport.
Muhammad Ali would say he who hits and runs away lives to hit another day.
I think we have the makings of a small disagreement here.
Not small, not way too much.
Right. You win, George. You're right.
But you're right. If you're going to continue to draw crowds, you're going to have to get in there and mix it up.
Well, nothing he's done in the first 10 rounds would ever drive a crowd away. It's been utterly appealing.
Only a slip.
Only a couple times in the bout has Pineda been even able to slightly wobble Whitaker, who seems most of the way to have been able to take Rafael's best shots. And that's a credit to Whitaker. Probably even a mild surprise to some.
To make that tight circle effective, you got to move to your left sometimes and also to the right. Whitaker's doing a good job of that. Good body punch.
Pernell is such a perfectionist that he rebukes himself in the ring when he sees small opportunities and doesn't take immediate advantage.
Hey, you're the champ. I don't know if there's something wrong. You're the champ. Understand? It's the last round, right?
Now listen.
3 minutes.
Now listen to me. This guy is probably going to come out. Hold it. This guy's going to probably come out swinging like a son of a bitch. You understand? Now what I want you to do in this round, look. Just listen to me.
Whatever you can do.
Okay, Pernell, this is the last round coming up with first blood, right?
Throw for more punches.
Not
this fucking guy out. Inténtalo, ¿no? Todo es posible.
Move to your right, baby. Move to your right.
Right, but box him up close. See, so you can get under the punches. You'll see the punches coming. Now listen.
Okay, gentlemen. All right, second house.
Tie him up inside this side. Look.
Boxing up close. So George Benton wants Pernell in this last round to stay inside of Pineda's power and not give him a chance at the full extended shots.
He's expecting an attack.
Harold, how do you have it?
Jim, 10-1, 109.97. Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker, way ahead.
So he's expecting a full-scale attack.
Yeah, and you should, rightfully enough. This guy knows that he's not ahead on points. You're going to retain your title, you better get out there and wade in. But it seems that Whitaker's hurt him a few times too many to make him get too careless.
Nope, Pernell has won every ounce of Rafael Pineda's respect.
Pineda is thinking just one right hand.
Well, you cannot accuse Pineda of quitting, even though that's what he did in the one bout that he lost to Freeland, and probably correctly so, with his orbital bone having been shattered in the left eye. He threw 85 punches in the last round, which is an extraordinarily high output for Rafael Pineda.
We've had 4 fighters who've come to fight tonight and have given us a good night at the fights.
And we came to talk. And while all the time they've been fighting, we've been talking. The fighting was the most entertaining part.
There was those 2 right hands he was counting on, and they didn't ring the bell. Whitaker is so confident he's going to try and counter the next right-handed thing.
Oh, there's the right hand by Pineda, and Whitaker stumbled away along the ropes. 1 minute to go in the fight, and that was a reminder from Pineda that Pernell should not forget the outside possibility.
Could have been a different fight if Pineda would have had the same concentration 2 rounds ago.
Lou Duva in the corner yelling, "Box, don't slug."
You're right, Larry. The crowd don't like the cautious ducking stuff. They don't like it.
They can look at themselves in the mirror and see people who don't take physical risks. When they come out here, they want to see people who take risks to be great.
This is ludicrous. How can they boo Whitaker for this effort?
The last
There it
couple
is.
of seconds, he got cautious, and they didn't like it. Beforehand, Larry loved it.
I have no idea what that booing is about.
It's ludicrous.
Well, there are a lot of Colombians who did come up to see Pineda. That might have something to do with it.
Those Colombians should be proud of what Pineda did. He gave every ounce of effort he had.
But he got cautious. He knew he had won the fight. He stuck his hand up, and you never do that in a fight until a bell rings. Nobody respects it.
You know, right now I'd have to say there are 3 fighters who can legitimately claim to be the best in the world pound for pound. Julio Cesar Chavez, Terry Norris, and Pernell Whitaker. And I don't know which one is first. To me, it's 1A, 1B, and 1C.
What about Riddick Bowe?
I think he's got a way to go.
He showed a lot of pounds tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Pound for pound, he's the biggest.
He even gave us a bird's-eye view of too many pounds.
I'm with you, Larry. Those 3 guys have got to stand out in public identity right now as the best the sport has to offer, and it's awfully hard to pick among the 3.
How look, boss? You look great. You look great.
George, you're
A
relentless.
little more time left in the round. You would knock him out in 1 round. He still has no time left in the round. All right.
This referee was splendid. He did a great job.
Joe Cortez. Yep.
Joe Cortez.
You just saw Pernell Whitaker kissing Ace Murata, who had no cut work to do in the Whitaker corner tonight. An entirely different night for Murata than the one he spent patching and filling Evander Holyfield on Holyfield's way to his decision victory over Larry Holmes last month. Right now, let's go to ring announcer Michael Butler for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Mirage in Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Frank J. Cairo and Jerry Roth both have the same score, 117 to 108. Hector Hernandez scores at 116 to 110 for the winner by unanimous decision and new IBF Junior Heavyweight Champion of the world, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
And again, there is booing around the arena as we look at the final punch stat numbers, which will confirm Whitaker's dominance, at least in this statistical category. Whitaker landing 321 out of 787 blows. Pineda under 30%, 206 out of 700. A lot of people in the arena apparently wanted to see something other than what really took place. But it was yet another near whitewash for the unanimous decision specialist of the sport, Pernell Whitaker, now with his first 140-pound championship belt, and Larry is in the ring with him. Larry?
Amazing.
Huh?
Larry?
All right, I'm sorry. All right, Pernell, I have the sense that you needed this kind of a challenge against a big, strong kid to raise the level of your game, even though it was already high.
Well, I talked about it all the time, Larry. that fights like this, big strong guys, big punchers, make me work hard and make me rise to another level. As you see tonight, I went out there, I dictated the fight, I controlled the fight, and the whole 12 rounds.
Did he ever hurt you, or could you feel his strength?
No, I felt like I was the stronger fighter. Moving in this weight class has helped me and helped my strength. I felt like, he was a big, strong guy, but I controlled the fight on the inside and the outside. The body attack worked, the good jab worked. Everything worked tonight. But first, I want to say hi to my boys back home, all three of my sons. I like to say hi to all my family back home. I'd like to say hello, especially to all the fans back in the Hampton Roads area.
There were a lot of low blows tonight, Pernell. None of them looked deliberate. Were you ever hurt by any of them?
Well, I was stunned by a few, but not anything to hold the time up. I didn't want the time to stop. I wanted the time to keep going. But the low blows were low, and I don't think they were deliberate, but they were effective.
All right, let's go take a look at your knockdown and describe what you see and what you thought at the time.
Well, right there, I was thinking about my son, Don Tavius. But no, I was just going, it was just a shot that I swung around, not anything hard, and it was, as you see, it was very effective.
Did you think you took the wind out of him there? It didn't look like a particularly hard blow.
It wasn't a hard shot. I think it took all of the fight out of him, because as the fight went on, it got easier. I didn't have to worry about him charging, and I just wanted to make sure that he didn't throw any lucky blows.
Now let's talk about the future. Who would you like to fight now?
Who?
I can't imagine.
You can't imagine, but I think, not for myself, I think for the world as well as the American people, that they want to see the Whitaker-Chavez fight. I feel like we owe this to him. That's what HBO signed us for, and I think the people ought to have it. Not saying he's a great general, but he has another general. When you get two generals like that together, we're going to have an explosion.
All right, we're looking forward to the explosion as well.
I'd like to say hi to my neighbor's son. Happy birthday to Ryan.
Let's get you.
All right, and happy birthday to everybody, and now back to you at ringside, guys. All right.